Chapter 30. The following day, the group collects supplies for the road and heads north. They follow one of the busier roads leading from the marketplace, a vast square with 4 water wells and a large, intricate statue of a tree with flames as leaves. Its roots reach for a stream at the base of the hill for which it crowns. A single, fearsome dragon sleeps at the tree's trunk. 2 long horns protrude from its brow. Small ones wrap loosely around its neck near the base of its head. 2 pairs of wings rest at the creature's sides, and placed, it seems at random, are 7 sheep near the dragon. Rosner understands none of this. Why is a tree growing fire? How does a dragon have 4 wings? What are sheep doing near a dragon? So he asks if Huon can clarify.
The tree symbolizes the different realms, and thus tends to be used to represent the gods as well,
The orc relates.
Fire for Zeus, earth for Viliv, water for Kuk, air for Lilin. All of them united create life.
Rosner cocks his head. What about the life giver? Rosner curses himself for almost saying Savona, what Etheris calls the life giver. Will anyone know who he is talking about if he calls her by that name? If they do, will it cause trouble? To Rosner's relief, Huon does not seem to notice. He simply continues.
A misconception that many believe. She helps to sustain life, but she does not create it. Now, the dragon is Bahamut. Several accounts suggest the creature is neither male nor female, specifically, rather it is both. It is essentially the servant of the realms, maintaining peace. The sheep, on the other hand, are actually the protectors of Bahamut. They have no specific shape, able to transform into various creatures as a way to blend in when they do not wish to be seen.
Rosner stays silent for a while. He knows about Bahamut and the 7 gold dragons that protect the large beast, but he has never seen him depicted like this. Him or the 7. Still, this is not what keeps him silent. Rather, it is how the orc says maintaining peace that bothers him. These words are directed at him. They are harsh in tone, unforgiving, the remains of a bond of trust broken. He knows they have not known each other for long to form a proper kinship, and they had no need to trust him from the start, nor did he for them. But the fact that little they had is no more pains him just the same. Kisra meets the group at a side gate at the city's north end with the Kitrais. They all climb in. The soldiers manning the gate watch them long past the wall and into the open desert. He can feel it, but he is too far into the recesses of his mind to care. Rosner did not realize it until Huon starts explaining the statue that he had seen the scene before. The depiction was different, but the tree, Bahamut, and the 7 protectors were there. From the depths of his memory, the image of the stained glass window in the throne room floods his mind. He knew what it was back then, but it seems after not reading about the history of Omnimentus for a while, he has forgotten some things. But that memory is the least of his worries right now. He asks a question he does not wish to have answered, but of course, the orc does. Would you say Bahamut has many enemies? Rosner asks over the swift breeze. After traveling for many days in this contraption, Rosner has gotten familiar with moving around and talking on these treks, though both are still kept to a minimum. Huon nods. And would you say some are worse than others? Nod. Who would you say is the worst? Huon turns and holds his gaze for an uncomfortable moment.
The Death King.
The wind slashes at the orc's words, but Rosner hears them, and they resonate loudly in his ears. All at once, so much makes sense about the group freaking out that he has been following the creature's instructions. He can very well be leading them, and all of Omnimentus, to die. Yet it also confuses things as well. The Phoenix seemed quite concerned at the mention of the Death King, yet Etheris expressed the complete opposite, though it does not help that Rosner still questions the legitimacy of Etheris. Is he something Rosner made up? Up until the encounter with Phoenix, he was inclined to think so. Now, Rosner is growing less confident in that venture. He does not know what to think about Tyriane promoting this, given Rosner believes the half-elf to know just as much about the Death King as Huon does, if not more. Although, he never did talk about the Death King to Tyriane, so we should not know anything about his involvement. Still, he does not like how Tyriane acted. So, with so many things now on his mind, Rosner spends their days traveling debating to himself on how to proceed. To make matters worse, the first night out is spent without the eyes. It takes 1.5 cycles before they reach the border town of Las. It is still a few days' journey to the Sphinx territory, but this is as far as the Kitrais go. The ground tends to be too unstable for them, is what Cyan tells them. The town is not very large. It reminds Rosner of Ticthrim with more people, but no visible source of water. Several of the buildings are stone, sandblasted smooth by the occasional storm. Many, however, are wood, and some still are tents. The life-giver, Savonia, hovers over the horizon, turning the sky a red hue. Should he start using her proper name? Is it even her proper name? Rosner is inclined to think so, given the oddity of his various encounters. This has been part of his internal debate for the entire trip, alongside whether they should even be on this trip. They hardly talked to Rosner, save to wake him for a night shift, or when they were ready to pack up in the morning. Of course, the waking typically involved something physical like kicking or shaking. Very little was it verbal. After a week, he began praying that they would end the venture, just take his life and be done with it. If they took him out of the equation, there would be nothing to worry about, right? So, why do they continue? They curse the weather whenever storms hit and divert their path when they see wild animals or other travelers, but they keep going. During one particular storm, Rosner was surprised to hear Kisra let a curse fly as they huddled beneath the overturned wagon. Toises Kamaris, may Bahamut cast you aside some day, she shouted it, but the howling wind dwindled it down to a loud whisper. He remembers happening to be next to her when she cried out, "Who are you yelling at?" The look she gave him shattered his soul, worse than a child speaking out of turn to an adult. There was no disappointment, only disgust, hatred. Then a calm washed over her and her face relaxed. But when she answered, her words still bit hard. Torsiaisk, the god of the desert, solitude and control, and his sister, Maris, the goddess of rebirth and destruction. Do you truly know nothing of the gods? He never answered. Rather, he fell into his mind once more. Etheris called the Phoenix Torsiaisk. Does that mean the Phoenix really is a god king? Or is he just more delusional than he thought? Could he honestly expect himself to somehow manifest all these visions with strange names because he has a creative mind? No, that would be giving him too much credit. Science swaps Rosner's arm. Let us go, she says, pointing after the rest of the group. They are several strides away, walking towards one of the stone buildings. Rosner pushes his thoughts aside and follows. The cool night air never ceases to amaze him when only hours ago the heat was nearly unbearable. The sign outside shows two snakes facing each other with their tails intertwined. Between them, it reads, Sandpit. Inside, shouts of excitement and disdain fill the room
Immediately to the right is a bar the length of the long wall. A rough-looking red orc stands behind it. Occupants crowd the room, focused on the center where the floor disappears. As everyone shifts around, Rosner sees it is a fighting pit. Cyan grabs his arm and leads them to the others. "What do you mean, no rooms?" Kanyu growls. The red orc glares at the dwarf. "No rooms mean no rooms. Pitch a tent." "I've seen your ledgers. You have rooms," Kanyu states evenly. The orc visibly stiffens. Rosner knows he is trying to read Kanyu's bluff. There's no way the dwarf could have actually seen the ledger. Several customers at the bar call for him, but the orc ignores them. He puts his large hands flat on the bar, leans over to get close to Kanyu, and says, "Pitch a tent, Grasind." Kanyu's eyes burn with rage. He leans in and says something in return, but Rosner cannot hear it over the crowd. What he does see is a man who has known Isturm for several reigns more than himself come up to Cyan's side, say something to her, and cup her seat. Then Rosner loses track of what happens. Immediately afterwards, the red orc roars at Kanyu, and a large gold and red snake lunges at the dwarf. As the snake attacks, Cyan gracefully slams a palm into the guy's chest, sending him to the ground. Kanyu takes a dagger from his side and slashes at the snake. Several of the guy's companions approach Cyan. For a moment, he loses track of Kisra, and when he finds her being dragged on the other side of the pit, over half the bar occupants are staring at them. The three by Cyan help their friend up, then try to restrain her. After that, everything turns into a free-for-all. The entire bar gangs up on them. Rosner shoves his way through the crowd, dodging grabs and taking and dealing punches. Eventually, several people start fighting each other. As he forges his way through the crowd, a thought occurs to Rosner. The sign outside displayed 2 snakes. A snake attacked Kanyu, so is it possible that another is... Rosner trips and crashes to the ground. He immediately rolls under a table. When he stops, he comes face to face with a giant snake. They eye each other. Every part of his body says to move, but he does nothing. He barely breathes. Then the snake breaks eye contact and snaps at someone behind it. Rosner takes the opportunity to get away. Back on his feet and at the back of the crowd, he pushes upstairs. It is not hard to find which room she has been taken to. He simply follows the screaming. He passes several doors before stopping in front of one with Kisra calling out behind it. He tries the handle. Locked. Rosner is not surprised. He slams his shoulder into the door. Male voices shout out. Kisra's screams are cut short. Rosner slams into the door again. Slam 3 sends him stumbling into the room. Before him, one older man has his arm around Kisra and a hand pressing a cloth to her face. Another man, potentially with some elvish heritage, has a short sword held in front of him. Was there not a third? Rosner hardly registers the sharp pain in the back of his head before his vision goes black. Rosner. The voice is distant, familiar. Rosner. A little clearer. Female. His body shakes. Come on, Rosner. Please get up. Kisra. The voice is Kisra. But was she not gagged? Gagged. Those men. Rosner opens his eyes and pushes himself off the floor. His head spins, but he ignores it. Where is Kisra? His question is quickly answered when Kisra's beaming face comes into view right next to his. A complete 180 from how she and the others have been treating him thus far. Thank space and time you're all right, she exclaims. Rosner looks at her, crossed. What about the 3? Looking around, his question is answered. Dead or alive, he cannot tell, but the bodies lay across the room.
It almost looks like they can be sleeping. Kisra, Rosner says, still looking at the bodies. What happened? The woman tries to haul Rosner to his feet. He obliges. Do not worry about that right now, she tells him. We need to grab the others. Rosner nods. How long have I been out? I would say less than a minute, she tells him as they walk out the door. The commotion below reaffirms what she tells him. The two of them start down the stairs but stop midway. Before them is an all-out brawl. Fists are being thrown, chairs and tables broken, bottles smashed, but no blades or weapons are being used. So that is something to be thankful for, no? Huan, Kanyu, and Cyan are nowhere to be seen. Kisra decides to state the obvious. Well, this is not good. Then Rosner spots Kanyu at the base of the stairs. He looks roughed up, but otherwise fine. Good, he shouts. You're both fine. Let us grab the other two and be on our way. Where are they? Rosner shouts. Kanyu only waves. They follow, shoving through the back of the crowd. Kanyu takes several of them out at the knees. Those he ignores he slides past with uncanny ease. Not far into the mass of people, Kanyu shouts, Great! You found your way through! Just in front of them, Cyan and Huan force their way towards them, and with the door right behind them, they all pile out. They walk well into the night, with the town of Las only a small twinkle of light on the horizon, before they stop near a small grove of trees. As they collapse, Rosner wants to demand an explanation as to what happened, but the words never come. Exhaustion sets in and his head starts to spin. So instead, they all lay under the trees and fall asleep. Above, the eyes peer down on them in full glory, hindered only by the passing clouds.